Well, I just got back from watching the movie, and man was I surprised. This is a very refreshing look on the movie universe, and today I'm gonna say what I liked about it, and also talk about the scenes I liked. So with that said, let's go. Before I even saw the movie, it took a long while to see it. The movie was supposed to start at 7, but it started 20 minutes later. Anyway, the actual movie. I'll just say it since we all know it. It was very good. Down to every little detail, it was very enjoyable. Everything like the human scenes, the score, the action, the humor, it was really good. Now let me take a deeper dive into these statements. First with the human scenes. Now I know there was a lot of people worrying about this. Sonic 1 had a decent amount, and Sonic 2 had a whole chunk of a side plot with Maddie's sister's wedding, with it taking way too much time away from the main characters we come to see, with it bringing out very funny moments and sometimes downright cringy moments, and it didn't help when the Knuckles show released. Oh man, this show. In my opinion, I really enjoyed the Way show. Even though he's or was the main focus of the show, Knuckles had some good parts in it, but what took away from the good was the bad, otherwise known as Wade Whipple. Now I enjoyed Wade, but it's just not Knuckles. And I hate the sister. I just want to make that known. But with this movie, they got rid of all of that. A majority of the movie is solely dedicated to Team Sonic and Team Robotnik, but there are some scenes that include the human characters. And when they're there, it's genuinely funny to see, especially with Tom and Maddie. Every time these two were on screen, I would always crack up. And that leads me to the next thing, the humor. The humor in the past movies wasn't the best. I have to admit, the humor wasn't Sonic 1's or 2's strong suit, with it being very awkward and just hard to sit through. Although in this movie it has improved tenfold. I wasn't dying laughing or anything, but I did give more than 5 chuckles during the movie. And with the jokes that didn't hit, so pretty much all of Sonic's one-liners, it got a chuckle out of the kids in the theater who were watching, which I guess is the target demographic. Anyway, I enjoyed it and a lot of people did so too. A lot of people were chuckling in the theaters and a lot of them were grown adults, so that was nice to see. Also, Agent Snow was honestly my favorite human character in this film. Pretty much all the scenes he was in was actually very funny, and I do like how he's progressively getting more serious as the movies go on. Speaking of serious, let's talk about the action, and it's done pretty well in this movie. Whenever there's fights, it's cool. It never went all out, remember this is still a kids movie, but for what they can do, this is done very well, and they mostly give it all to Shadow. There's just one scene where Sonic and Shadow are running to reach the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic goes super, but to his surprise, so did Shadow. And then a battle scene starts, and man, it was amazing. It really reminded me of Dragon Ball Z, when Super Majin Vegeta and Super Saiyan Goku were having their fight, just toned down a heavy bunch. And then with the fight with the Super Hedgehogs and SI2 robots, it was just so satisfying. And it's just a massive improvement in the last movies. And another massive improvement is the characterization. Sonic gets his own character development in this film, with him having to learn how to work with a team, and that you can't always do everything by yourself. And there's a moment when Shadow injures Tom really badly, and Sonic comes to the aid and sees what Shadow has done, and that causes him to get really pissed off. He confronts Tails and Knuckles and almost got into a fight with Knuckles, but Sonic leaves him to get the Master Emerald, despite the oath him and Knuckles swore after using it in the last movie, with that being it can never be used again. Knuckles tells Sonic where it's at, and lo and behold, the person protecting it is Wade. He was using it as a hockey puck. Sonic uses his ring to get to Wade, and then promptly snatches it and turns super. Fast forward a bit and Sonic zooms into space and grabs Shadow, and they both go straight falling down to Earth. When they both land, they try to reach the Chaos Emeralds. Then they go super. During that fight scene, I can notice how Sonic was progressively getting more violent. As the rage he built up from Shadow almost killing Tom, Shadow says his name. Sonic then goes berserk. I was shocked while watching this scene. Sonic goes all out with a power punch to the jaw, which sends Shadow into space, landing him on the moon, with that powerful punch returning him back to his base form, with Sonic speeding toward him to give the final blow. When watching this, not only did I think it's cool, but it heavily reminded me of Fleetway's Supersonic. Fleetway is a UK Sonic comic book that ran in the 90s and ended in the early 2000s, with their version of Supersonic being a very evil and out of control beast, with him always trying to kill everybody. And that reminds me of what's happening here. Another character that improved was Tails. Before he was Sonic's #1 glazer. Oh yeah, only Sonic the Hedgehog could do that. Only Sonic the Hedgehog could think of. It was just very sad seeing what they did to him in Sonic 2. And with Sonic 3, I'm glad to say they fixed it, with him actually having his own character instead of being a sidekick, with him being very important to the plot. Knuckles kinda takes a step back in this film, since we've already seen his character development in his own show. Other than that, he's constantly funny in this movie. Agent Stone out of everybody was a decent character in this movie, but like I said, he's more serious in this movie. It kinda becomes depressing in this movie when seeing Robotnik bonds with Gerald more than him. There's one moment in the movie that I won't repeat, and that's Robotnik's speech to Stone. That was too good for me to repeat. If you haven't seen this, then go watch the movie. That scene was just beautiful. Tom and Maddie are much better compared to the past. They feel like loving friends more than husband and wife. They're always butting heads with each other in a fun and not hurtful way. That's just fun to watch. Something I'm barely going to speak on is Shadow's character. I know a lot of people have their own ideas on how Shadow should act, and I'll just say my opinion. He's done very well in this movie. and I'll just leave it at that. The last thing I want to talk about is the music and the references. The music in this movie is really good, giving great renditions of many songs you recognize, such as Sayonara Sonic the Hedgehog, and of course Live and Learn. There's one scene where Robotnik gets a call, and set as his ringtone is Eggman's theme from SA2. It seemed like I was the only one who got that in the theater. If you watch any of the SA2 cutscenes, then you probably saw some references in this film, like when Team Sonic jumps out the helicopter, and Sonic says the iconic line, or Sonic and Shadow doing the SA2 battle pose. There's a lot of them. And I also really like the Shadow the Hedgehog references too, cause yes, there are some in here, like Sonic struggling to get up and then falling in front of Shadow, is one for one with the scene in Shadow the Hedgehog, or Shadow holding a gun and using it, or I'm sorry, a laser pistol. It was very fun looking for these things while watching the movie. So what do I think of this film? I really love this film and I really think it's the best video game movie ever. So my final ranking is 9 out of 10. If you enjoyed the video, then thank you all so much for watching. Consider subscribing, it's free and helps me a lot. So with that being said, join the Discord, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.